Hi everyone, Bonsai Northwest exhibition in Melbourne is on again this year on the 29th and 30th of April 2023. Hope to see you all there. Lots of trees on display, heaps of trees on for sale, and look forward to seeing you there. Thanks.
G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. Today we've got these Juniper procumbens, prostrata, sometimes known here in Melbourne. It belongs to a customer of mine, so it's not my tree. So when I look at trees like this, it's quite nice. From the front, you can see it's really nice and even growth and quite nice and full and lush. Got lots of nice big branches that just need to be trimmed back. That's probably what you can see is quick and easy, nice solution. But I want to show you what I find with Juniper procumbens and prostrata, which is the main issue when I see trees like this. And this beautiful foliage on this side and this side come from two branches right at the top of the tree. They're not lower branches, they're not in the middle, they're right at the top and they've been bent down. It's just how the growth of these trees grow. So it's not no one's fault, I guess, in terms of how these grow. It's just how it is. But I haven't been initially worked on to remove those heavy net branches and create lower branches that would be better for the tree. So I'll turn it around to the back so you can see a better look probably. So you can see now the two main branches with all the foliage are there. They are, especially this one on this left side. It's really heavy and there's absolutely no branching on the inside of that side as well. There's not much at the back either. So it's going to be a tough tree to restyle. These are tough trees to restyle without removing huge amounts of foliage. Now, if this was my tree, I was contemplating maybe twisting this up and creating a taller tree, but I think it's too risky for this tree. I'm just going to have to figure out a way to use and incorporate these larger branches, probably especially this side, because there's no branching on this side. I'll have to use this branch, maybe create a waterfall effect of a branch on this side and go backwards, forwards, just to give it all the depth it needs. And maybe that branch on that side, create again back branch because there's nothing there at the back. So again, a waterfall type of branch that you hear about. That's pretty much all you can really do with these larger branches. You can't really cut them off because they're just too long. They're too long and too much foliage on them, and there's nothing to replace them. So sorry about the helicopter above, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a crack at this tree, wire it up, restyle it, and it should be good. So let's have a go at getting this tree done. So a simple thing I do to start with, because I'm going to create such a mess on this tree, I cover the base of the soil, which is a tea towel or some sort of towel, just so that it doesn't make a mess over the soil and all the branching can just fall off to the side, and so it doesn't make a mess on the soil. Alright, so now we're going to have a look at this tree. So it's got some good branching in here, smaller branching, which is great. Got two nice smaller ones, which can create a bit of interest on this side of the tree. Again, too high, a little bit too high. Has some bit of small ones. Nothing at the back we know. And it has this big one. It's got these two branches right down here, which are a little bit small. So I'm not sure how we're going to deal with those either. So it's going to be a tough tree. Not easy at all. It's just, this tree's hidden by the two massive branches on either side. So first things first, we clean out all the dead branches, clean out all the crotch growth, clean any weak stuff out, so we're good to go and have a look at the tree. So something weird that I'm going to do now is actually start wiring the tree, but I'm not going to start at the base, which is what we normally do. I'm going to wire the two most significant branches on the tree. So in a way, bonsai, the most significant branches are usually in the bottom, but in this case, it's these two branches here. I'm going to try and I need to get my placement of these right before I can decide what I'm going to do with the rest of the tree. I have to keep them. If I eliminate them, there'll be nothing left of a tree. So there's nothing around. So I will have to wire them first. Just explain my process, wire this one, and see if I can create a waterfall with this one and move this towards the back, which should be easy enough, and just create another waterfall looking branch with it. So that's my plan at the moment. So I've been able to wire up some of this tree now. A lot of the apex area here has been wired up. I've also wired the two heavy branches. This one to the left, you see a heavy gauge, I've also wired this branch that was out here now into the back area over here. Now, it is quite long, still haven't done any reducing of the branch yet, but I've started to wire up all these branches up here that I need to try and create an apex and then see where I can fit these big heavy branches in. Because the last thing I want to really do is cut anything off with that I don't need to. I don't really want to cut too much off, as I said, if I don't need to. So having a waterfall branch with this branch and having a waterfall branch at the back, I have to get it right, otherwise it'll look too heavy. So a lot of these branches in here that I've wired up will also cover the heaviness of this branch and make it look a lot more interesting. So that's all I've really done is wired, cleaned up underneath mostly. Haven't really cut the tips of them. You can see they're quite tall because I will try and maneuver branches and twist them around and get them to sit in nicely. We'll get to that point eventually, but really what I'm doing now is just finishing off wiring. I'm going to keep wiring this branch and just see what I'm going to do with these two branches here. They're really awkward, in awkward spots. Although they're nice to have these branches, they're not like the right angle we're going for, but I'm going to see if we can work them into the design, hopefully. So we'll see what we come up with next. All right, so if I hide those two branches, you can see how the tree's developing quite nicely. Just got the apex here to wire into place, and you can see the nice structure set up for this tree. I've been able to set the back branch is a little long, that's that really heavy one, but it's okay sitting in there right now. I don't want to reduce it too much more just for now. I'll let the tree do its thing, and hopefully over the next couple of years we could reduce that slightly once all these branches in here start to thicken up and fill out. So it just needs a bit of there. It's a bit long, but we're okay there. This branch turned out really nicely. The waterfall branch, the branches are nicely padded up and form a nice leveling layer going upwards. So we start with the base one, then I made some room, put this one in, made some room, put the one in the back, put this one in here, put this one in the front. So everything's not on top of each other, but just off each level. So just off center of each level. So a little bit of overlap, but not all the way. So that's how I've set that up. Similar situation to this side. This side had a bit more branching in place. So just set the branches into fan shapes. And we've got it all set up pretty much up until this apex era, where I'll just go away and just put the apex in place. Just need some tweaking, bit of fine wiring, trimming away, and we've got the apex. Now, these are the ones that I've got issues with at the moment. I'm not sure how I can use them in the design, but I'm going to give it a go, see if we can put them in place. But at the moment, yeah, they're not going to fit into this style. See, notice how the branches are bending so far down, they're sweeping downwards. These are kind of horizontal, so I'll see what I can do. I'm not 100% sure where this will end up. This could be okay as a branch in here. Could be. I'm not sure about this one. But let's have a go. Let's see what it looks like. So, it might be a bit of controversy here, but I ended up deciding to keep the lower branches. Couple of reasons. The tree does belong to a client, and I think removing these two branches and probably adding shari in and gins and so on, it's probably a bit of a huge step for the customer. It also gives the customer the opportunity to decide later on whether they want to keep those branches or remove them. Another reason is these junipers very, very rarely have lower branches. So you never know what these branches could develop into. So I'm protecting the future of this tree by keeping these branches on, letting the owner decide if they want to keep them eventually or remove them. You still got a pretty nice tree. If I would cover that, you still got a nice tree, but it's all in the upper half of the tree. So I would have to put shari along the trunk. That's deadwood along the trunk, some gins with these branches, that kind of stuff. So it is a bit more difficult, I guess, to look at the tree. This way, it looks more of a normal kind of bonsai that I think the client will really like. That's what he was probably after, something like that. So that's why I chose it. There's always reasons why. Lower branches on these junipers is very hard to get. So I think that's also helping with the decision. So I don't know, maybe it'll be a bit of controversy here, bit of talk about, oh, I should have removed it, shouldn't have removed it, I love it, keep it as it is, so on and so forth. But overall, nice tree, come up pretty good. Very, probably the lesson here is if you have one of these trees with dominant upper branches, don't be rushed to cut them off. I see that happen all too often. They want to cut off the big branches at the top. Don't need to. Create the waterfall effect. So this branch is a beautiful indication of the waterfall effect. Step, step, step. See how it's all stepped down with that one branch, and you wire it all out and you get that step approach. I also did it to the back. Doesn't have as many branches in here that I would like, but I think they'll fill out over time. But it's again a step, back branch that's been lowered. So very important, I guess, especially, with these junipers, which don't have many lower branches. So it's got 1, 2, and then pretty much up until here, the next branch. So really missing branches in here. That would have been really ideal to have branches here, but we got nothing to put in that position. So I had to go with that big heavy one, wide it down into waterfall effect, and you can hardly tell the difference. It looks quite nice. This tree can be styled in many different ways, but as I said, it's a customer tree, so you've got to be always on the cautious side with customer trees. Don't go too extreme, which is what I sometimes tend to do with my trees, but it looks really nice. Overall, it's a good multi-dimensional tree. A little bit long in this back branch, but that's for now. That's what we have to do until we get some better branching inside, so we cut back to. But overall, pretty good tree, nice result, and a good way to deal with problem junipers with heavy branches at the top by bringing them down into waterfall effect. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and see you soon.